All right, we are live. Welcome everybody to Hump Day Hangouts. This is episode number 428. Let's see, my alarm is going off reminding me of Hump Day Hangouts. That's how prepared I am for this. So while Bradley gets the technical stuff going, we are gonna say hello to myself and Chris. And then we got a couple of announcements. I got a really cool reminder of something that took place last night and then some stuff coming up. So Chris, gonna start with you. How you doing today?
Doing super good today. Can't complain about anything. Life is really good. But I got a question for you. How do you like the evening meetings?
It's a little strange. Yeah, being 6 hours east of the east coast of the US, starting Hump Day Hangouts at 10 p.m. I have some newfound respect for you being here every week, Chris.
You're welcome.
Man. Yeah. So Bradley, how you doing?
Good, man. Happy to be here. A lot of stuff going on, but yeah, exciting times.
Cool. Well, I'm going to hop in before we get into stuff. I wanted to remind people, if you signed up for the webinar we had with Allison Caffrey of Operations Agency and you weren't available to attend, we will have that webinar replay up and running next week at some point. And just wanted to tell you that you guys missed out on the opportunity, sadly, to get some real live SOP and process reviews. So a couple of people who showed up were able to take advantage of that and get some help with their processes live on the webinar, which was awesome. But Allison has extended the offer for something pretty cool that you can take advantage of, but you got to check out the webinar to see it. I'm going to actually be discussing this with Bradley and probably having him, me, and Chris do a little intro to the video because it's like we say a lot of times, right? Process, this SOPs, they aren't sexy. There's nothing, like, ooh, and I even brought it up on the webinar with Allison, and this is what she does. And she's like, no, they're not sexy. This isn't cool. Nobody's, going out and being like, oh yeah, SOPs, this is badass. It's like, no, well, they are badass, but it's the bread and butter. You want to build something that scales, you need SOPs, right? You want a smooth functioning business, you need process, you need SOPs. And I know Bradley, says this all the time, and especially in the mastermind, right? You're kind of beating a dead horse, but right, you keep saying it, like this is the stuff that lets you grow.
Yeah, I disagree. Like you saw my draft and like the dashboard that I did like this week. Yeah, expanding on that, I can tell you can make SOPs very, very sexy. So like I'm telling you, the whole thing becomes like a full-on real-world video game that actually makes you money, right?
Yeah.
So like I don't know if that doesn't excite you. I don't know, like go back to the
I guess
TV.
We got to make
here like don't do anything.
Got to make the first hit free, right? It's like the jokes about drugs, like make the first hit free. You got to get people hooked on SOPs, and then they see the results, and then they want to do them all the time. In the sense that they know that what the time invested pays off multiples. Like Bradley, do you love SOPs? Are they what you get up in the morning just because you're dying to do SOPs and not do anything else with your life?
Are you kidding? I dream about them all night long. And that thing that happens to men in the morning when they wake up, that's because of SOP dreams that I've had.
What's that? You're hungry and
no.
you need to...
SOPs suck, man. They're no fun.
Yeah.
It sucks. I've been building SOPs for years, and I try to do it for a lot of our mastermind members as much as possible because I know everybody hates to do it. I do too, but I do it because it works. It helps you to grow. It helps you to get anything you don't want to do in your business, develop an SOP for. And delegate that shit out. Either hire it out, like, find a third party that can produce it where you don't have to develop the SOP because they can just fulfill for you, or develop an SOP and then delegate it so you never have to do it again, right? That's the thing.
I got news for you. Even if you have a third party fulfilling it, you still need an SOP.
Yeah, maybe. That's you still do need an SOP because like I have SOPs for ordering from third party providers. Like for real. So my team members for like link building and things like that, I use third-party vendors from Legit and some other sources for some of the things that we fulfill as part of semantic links. And yet I have SOPs for how to place the order so that I don't have to be the one placing the order. I've got VAs that do that now. So yeah, it's not fun, but it's necessary. And it's important. And if you do it right, then you can delegate your work and it, becomes a lot easier to scale because you can just plug more people in as you need to expand. And so I work on SOPs all the time. I want to say daily, but not every day, but I try at least every week. I'm either working on a new SOP or adding to an existing one. And that's it's just kind of nature of the beast. And Cecilia, I can see her in chat. She said she disagrees about them not being sexy. She says, seeing a glimpse of Bradley's SOPs in a video, it made me buy the mastermind.
Yep. And I think something else is good too that Allison touched on. Again, we'll send out the replay, and she even shared her SOP for creating SOPs, which I love, because a lot of times, right, it gets hyped up. You hear about it, and maybe it's I haven't done it, or we talk to a lot of people who don't, or they're like, I know I need documentation. It's just I don't want to do it all. It's like, no, just start. Just do one little piece. It doesn't have to be a finished product. It's an SOP. It never will be. It's going to be updated. And I think that was really cool. One, that she shared her SOP for creating SOPs, but also remembering that it's not a finished product. You do the best you can and then improve it over time, or even better, hire somebody to help you improve them over time. So yeah.
That's really a good point, because a couple of things. Number one, in Work the System, which is the book by Sam Carpenter, the one that was which was what introduced me into learning how to delegate work to begin with. Fantastic book, Work the System by Sam Carpenter. Go check it out. That $9 Kindle book had a bigger influence on my business than a $20,000 SEO seminar that I went to. I'm not kidding. So that $9 book has been transformative for me. But he talks about working procedures. That's what he calls SOPs, is working procedures. And he says they're living and breathing documents. They're never finished. They're constantly being added to and improved and made more efficient and all that kind of stuff. So it's something that, again, it's not fun. It's not sexy, but it's something that we do, and they constantly can be improved upon. And here's the thing. I always talk about this, but I like to do, SOPs. A lot of the times I learn something just enough to be able to execute the task, even if it's done crudely. And then I develop an SOP out of that. Like, even if it's done very poorly, just like, hey, this is the end result I'm trying to achieve. How I got there might be messy, might be ugly, but here's how I got to this end result. Then I record that, create an SOP, and then I hand it over to somebody and say, here, do this from now on. Once you learn don't deviate from this initial SOP, but once you've become familiar with the process, look for ways to make it more efficient, to improve it. Look for apps or software or anything else that can make this process more efficient. Then bring that to me and let me know what you found. If you find ways to make the process better, bring it to me. And if I approve it, we will work that into the SOP, if that makes sense. And that's precisely the point, is like, I don't want to become a master at all this stuff. I just want to learn how to do it good enough to be able to instruct someone else how to do it. And then they're going to be the ones repeating that task over and over again. So let them be the ones to improve the process, right? That's essentially what I do in my business. So.
Definitely. Well, I mean, I'm going to throw in our pitch, not even the pitch to the webinar, but like Cecilia was saying about joining the mastermind. If you want access to this type of stuff, the SOP specifically, but also you're looking to grow, either if you're a consultant, whether you have an agency, but you're focused on local SEO, come check us out, mastermind.semanticmastery.com. Come join us and take this stuff up a few notches.
I've got a couple more comments on that before we move on.
Yeah, keep going.
Very briefly. Years ago, Mike Cooch, a lot of you are probably familiar with Mike Cooch. He's a good dude. He had this was many years ago, before I'd even started delegating work, but he had what he called a process. And it was a process for developing processes, which is exactly what you just said, Adam, which I thought was kind of interesting. But the other thing is that's as you mentioned, Adam, that's one of the things I see all the time. And I experience this myself, but I've learned how to overcome it. And that is, you feel like you have to do 100% or nothing at all. And there's no in between. And so it's like, if you've got to develop a process for an SOP for some task that you want to do, especially if it's a complex task, that's an enormous lift. It's a heavy lift. You've got a lot of work to do. I know, because I've asked some of our mastermind members, some of the SOPs I've done are incredibly elaborate, and it takes a lot of effort. But don't look at it that way. It's like people that have been sedentary for the last 5 years and probably put on an extra 60 or 80 pounds. And then they decide that they want to start getting in shape, and they say, okay, they've been sitting on their ass for 5 years. And all of a sudden they say, I'm going to go to the gym for an hour every single day. That lasts about 3 days, if that, you know what I mean? Because it's too much too soon. It's the same thing with processes. Like, sometimes if I'm looking at, oh man, I got this big SOP that I've got to develop, and it's going to take me months. And then it's like, okay, well, I've got to spend the next 8 hours on this or else I'm not going to work on it at all. No, don't do that. Do what Adam said. And I've learned to do this over the years, but that is, the first time you go to do a task, when you know that you're going to turn it into a process, just create an outline, a top level outline of the major elements of that task that need to be completed for that task to be executed. And then the next time you go to do the task, you have the outline, you just flesh that outline out a little bit more. And then the next time you do it again, you add a little bit more detail. And by the time you've done it 4 or 5 times, now you've got a fully fleshed out process that you didn't sit down and for a block of 8 hours or 2 days to do. You did it over the course of every time you had to execute that task. You just fleshed it out a little bit more. So if it takes you 30 minutes to do a normal task, that might take you 4 hours to do an SOP. So instead, why not spend an extra 10 or 15 minutes each time you're doing that 30-minute task to flesh out that SOP? And at the end of 4 or 5 times that you've done that, you will have a fully fleshed out SOP without it really detracting from your business, if that makes sense. So it's a way to just kind of do it in stages. Does that make sense?
Doesn't work for everyone. For me, this doesn't work at all. Like for me, it's either I'm 100% in or it doesn't happen.
Yeah, I mean, choose what works for you, right?
Yeah,
so,
that's right.
But yeah, I think it's just being aware of like, there's other options. If it's not 100%, hey, some people do it on a scratch pad. I use Roam. People might be familiar with Notion. I've copied and pasted stuff, but I mean, there's a bunch of ways to do it. But yeah, just don't let the all or nothing stop you from getting started. So
yeah,
cool. Well, that's good. I think we got a couple comments on that. So I'm glad people are interested in this. And yeah, Cecilia, screen recording as you do a task, that's great. And that's definitely one way that Alice and a lot of other people recommend, and I do as well. I think one of the best articles I've read, I'll pop the link in here in a bit, was 360 delegation. And basically just doing as much as you can, but don't kill yourself, but just be as complete as you can. Maybe give an example of the finished product too, right? And giving some context. There's a lot of stuff you can do, but yeah, anyways, this is a whole topic onto itself. Before we get too much into this, let's get into things. I just wanted to mention again, the mastermind, come check it out. If you're interested, mastermind.semanticmastery.com. The webinar is going to be posted next week. Bradley, Chris, is there anything else we need to discuss before we get into questions?
Yes, hit subscribe button on the YouTube channel.
There you go.
Yes. I'm not used to being up late, so I'm all out of it. But yeah, let's get into it.
That's right. I don't think people know you're in Germany.
Yeah.
So you're over in Chris's neck of the woods. Somewhat.
I'm hiding out over here. Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, I'll grab the screen here for a minute because and then I'll probably drop the screen, but I want to show you guys something. This is just a pitch for coming and joining me for early AM, Monday through Friday on my Twitch channel. You guys come check it out, man. I've got lots of stuff going on. I had some really good participation. I missed Monday because I had internet issues that I had to resolve, and almost lost the entire day Monday. It sucked, but came back the last couple of days, and I've got a lot of good things popping over there as far as what I'm doing with the local rank and rent mastery model. Rank and rent SEO mastery is what I'm calling it. So I would encourage you guys to come check me out at the Twitch channel over there. Just to participate. It's from 6:30 a.m. until it's supposed to stop at 7:30 a.m., but I've been running till 8 a.m. most mornings. So, and like I said, I cover all kinds of things. It's supposed to be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I work specifically on the rank and rent SEO stuff. And in Tuesdays and Thursdays, it's just odd things that need to be done. But I'm basically whatever I feel like doing in the morning or what is most pressing is what I do. And I'm trying to focus most of my attention on the rank and rent mastery SEO kind of process, because that's my biggest push this year for 2023 is for training purposes for semantic mastery, is how to expand the lead gen business without relying on Google business profiles. So that's what I'm working on over there, and making good progress, teaching all kinds of stuff, guys. Like the last couple of days, I've talked about building out how to find locally or geographically relevant domains to purchase to be using for link building purposes for ranking local projects. So we started building some of those out this morning on using CTRify. Tomorrow we'll probably be building 1 or 2 out in HTML pages. So just got a lot of really good things. Like basically I'm doing everything that I would do for my agency work or for my own lead gen business on camera live. It's raw footage, which means it's, long. So if you want to sift through that kind of long form content, then there's a lot of value there. Well, eventually we'll get it condensed down and turned into shorter form content and put that kind of training in the mastermind. It won't be available outside of the mastermind, but for now it's currently available on my Twitch channel. So go check it out. And before everybody asks, because I can't tell you how many times I've seen this question in YouTube comments already, like, what's the link to your Twitch channel? here's an idea. Go to Twitch and search Bradley Benner. And that you'll find it. Okay. It's twitch.tv/Bradley Benner. But if you go to Google or YouTube and you just switch, or YouTube, Twitch, and you just search for Bradley Benner, you'll find it. I don't know if there's any other Bradley Benners on Twitch, but anyway, go check it out. So
yeah, use it before he upgrades to OnlyFans.
Yeah. That's what I keep hearing jokes about, this OnlyFans thing, and I'm still not entirely sure what it is. Anyway, let me grab this. I just want to show you guys, this is a project that I've been working on in through that process. Okay. So it's a lead gen project I'm working on. I've already got a lead buyer lined up for this one. He's in the Louisville, Kentucky area. And so I just was doing a bunch of keyword poking or testing using LiveRank Sniper. I've talked about this many times. I've demonstrated exactly how to use this during the live streaming, but I've tested a total of, I don't know, 90 some keywords, 158, divide that by 2. So that's 74, right? No, 79 keywords that I've tested. This is across 2 search engines, Google Desktop, Google Mobile. Right. So it's 79 keywords. So that I've tested in 2 different search engines. That's why it's showing total 158 keywords tracked. But out of those 79, if you take a look, like, for example, if I just display a filter, let's see, what do I want to do? Anyway, I'll just show it the way that it is. But actually, let me do this. So it'll be faster. I just want to show this to you guys. I don't think I saved this to my Drive folder, but want to show you something if I can get this thing to cooperate. All I'm going to do is select desktop results. And we just need a simple CSV because this will just show you what I want to show you. So if we come over here, all I care about in this report, this is just to show which keywords ranked within 24 hours of scheduling a live stream, a scheduled live stream in YouTube. That's all LiveRank Sniper is. You don't need any videos. You don't even need custom thumbnails, but I use custom thumbnails. All you need is a couple paragraphs of text and the keywords you want to test and some YouTube channels that you can plug into LiveRank Sniper. And then you let it go. And then you go back and you test on the keywords. And that's why I'm using, this is called SERPwatch as my rank tracker, so that I can determine what I sort by the best column here, which I'll show you. Let me just zoom in on this a little bit. We can get rid of a lot of these, so stand by. All I care about is best position, because all I want to know is when out of these keywords, and I can get rid of that too. So out of these keywords here, and I'm going to do one more thing, which is sort by best position. Smallest to largest. Boom. There we go. This is the data I wanted to show you guys. So here are the keywords that I tested, which was a total of, I don't know, 5 keyword combinations and then a bunch of different locations. And you can see that out of the tests that I've done, and this is just desktop results, but look at all these guys. This means within 24 hours of me publishing the scheduled live event or just scheduling the live event, that they ranked, this is the position that they ranked on. It doesn't matter whether they stick or not. That's not the point. The point is these are keyword combinations that I found using a high authority property, YouTube, that I can target with some basic just on-page optimization and piggybacking on the authority of the platform, again, YouTube, to rank for these keywords, which are all geographic areas or census designated places, unincorporated communities, towns, and cities, all within the Louisville metro area. Does that make sense? And look at this, look at the results here, guys. You see this? I've got on page 1 alone, 75 keywords that ranked out of however many it was that I tested. Does that make sense? I think I tested 79 keywords and 75 of them ended up ranking on page 1 within 24 hours, right? So these are all opportunities that you can use to optimize for the larger, broader keyword, right? A lot of these keywords aren't searched much. That's why they're not very competitive. That's why you're able to rank for them. But if you blanket an entire area with the low-hanging fruit keywords like this, now this was just testing purposes so that I could identify which keywords that I want to target and build out more permanent assets, right? So self-hosted sites as well as Web 2.0 profiles, so branded networks and all of that. But the point that I'm trying to make here is you guys see how very quickly you can You can build a business out of doing this kind of stuff while you're optimizing for the broader terms that is more competitive, which is going to take some time to rank for. But you can generate a lot of exposure this way very, very quickly, if that makes sense. And once you identify these and you kind of develop the hierarchy for locations and how you're going to stack pages and things like that on the sites that you're going to build, or again, it can be self-hosted sites as well as mirror that structure into Web 2.0 assets, which I'm going to be going through all of that as part of what I'm doing in the streaming sessions. But you can build up to those larger keywords at the same time, generate some real exposure and generate real phone calls and leads. If that makes sense. So this is incredibly powerful to see that kind of results. I did not expect these results to be this good in the Louisville metro area. And in fact, I typically recommend to people that are starting this kind of a process to only target the suburbs outside of metro areas. But these are actually areas within the Louisville metro area, like in Louisville metro proper, if that makes sense. And yet I'm still able to get a lot of results here. So I'm not going to go through the process of discovering these locations and all that. I've covered all of that in the live streaming. We can cover that again in the mornings if needed. But I just wanted to kind of point this stuff out and tell you guys, if you want to see how to do this, and then where I'm taking it from here, you'll see I've got a bunch of projects. I'm testing different kind of site structures, different methods, right? And I'm targeting the same area over and over and over again with different brands, right? And specifically so I can test different methods to see which ones perform better than others. And then once we kind of identify, like I already know some certain site templates or structures that work well. I've been testing with them for months. Last year, I spent a lot of time kind of developing a local site structure template that works really well for this kind of stuff. But I've got other tests I want to do. So that's kind of what I'm doing now is developing different structures and testing different kind of methods to see what ranks the best, what performs the best. And then once I've discovered that, then we scale. We just duplicate that structure in different locations, if that makes sense. So this is a great way. I just had another mastermind, a new mastermind member onboarding call earlier today, and we were talking about. He was asking, well, what do you think about the lead gen business? Is that something that you think is waning? Is it declining, et cetera? I said, no, it's shifted away from, at least my business, shifted away from being so reliant on Google business profiles and switching to what I'm calling the hybrid model, which is doing this, developing organic assets. You could also use Google Ads to generate leads. And then once you find, start generating leads consistently, you can get a lead buyer or a renter, an asset lease, somebody leasing the assets if you want to do rank and rent, which is the easiest to manage, or you do pay per lead, which is kind of more traditional. But whatever, once you have a service provider that is servicing the leads that you've created through your own organic assets and also potentially with Google Ads, then you can always sell them once you developed a relationship with them, right? They've paid on time, you got good communication for a couple of months. Can't you then at that point, once you've proven yourself and they've proven themselves as a good, service provider, lead buyer, whatever you want to call it, then you can always upsell them like, hey, you have a Google business profile in that area, right? Well, did you know I can also optimize your presence and boost your presence so that you're generating your own leads, and I can do that for you for $800 a month or $500 a month or $1,000 a month or whatever it is. But now you're getting revenue from two different sources, right? You're getting revenue from your own assets, and you're getting revenue, the traditional retainer-based model from your client, your lead buyer, but from optimizing their Google business profile, right? So it's a hybrid model. You're getting multiple streams of income from the same source. So you're diversifying your income. And here's the thing. What happens if Google business, if something changes in Google business and you lose that, you still have your organic assets producing, or vice versa. If your organic assets tank for whatever reason, you've still got your client's Google business asset producing revenue for you. So it's a way to kind of spread your eggs out across multiple baskets instead of putting them all in one. It's still Google, right? It's still the Google basket, but now you've got these sub baskets, organic, potentially ads if you want. I'm still trying to figure out how to make those profitable though. And then also Google Maps, if that makes sense. So there's multiple ways to do this, and that's what I'm exploring and kind of further developing this model in the streaming sessions in the morning. So I'd encourage you guys to come join me. Check it out. Okay. Let's get to the questions now. 25 minutes in. Right on. All right. I'm going to pull up pre-posted questions. We'll get into those first, and then we'll get into comments if there's any time left. Patrick is the first one up. He says, how best to create another AdWords account if you have if you have one suspended. Use a different Gmail account. It's that easy. Just use a different Gmail account. In fact, if you're using a free Gmail account, I would encourage you to set up a workspace account on your primary domain. Patrick, whatever your primary domain is, if you have an agency, use your agency domain, set up a workspace account, and then create an AdWords account under that workspace account. Does that make sense? That's what I do. I try to do everything in workspace accounts now, guys, not free Gmail accounts. There are certain things that I use from vendors that I will still get that were developed under free Gmail accounts, like Drive Stacks and G Sites and things like that oftentimes. But if I'm going to start building out like a Google Ads campaign, a Google Business Profile campaign, or if I'm going to start building rank and rent assets for organic only, I'm still going to create workspace accounts. In fact, like I said, for the live streaming stuff that I'm doing in the morning, I bought multiple domains, brands that I purchased specifically to build these projects out. And I took I think I bought 5 or 6 domains that are all branded domains of various brand names that I created. And I went ahead and set up for the initial project, I set up 2 workspace accounts on 2 of those domains, because that's the first freaking step I do. In fact, I even bought those domains through Google Domains through one of my other workspace accounts. So you go in, I log into Workspace in one of my primary accounts, then I go to domains.google, it's domains.google, and then purchase the domains through Google so that I can just check a box and it automatically adds Workspace to those domains with all the DNS records, the DMARC, SPF, DKIM, all that kind of stuff is already automatically added. So it just makes it a lot easier. And I do that specifically because those are validation signals, guys. When you purchase Workspace, you've got a credit card on file. That is a validating signal to Google. Instead of, everybody spams free Gmails, but very few people spam Workspace accounts because you have to put your name on it and a credit card. So that's why I said it's an instant authority booster in Google is to use a Workspace account. So when you have an AdWords account suspended, I would encourage you. And by the way, I've found it's not always the case. I have had things suspended that were developed through a Workspace account, but it's a lot less likely. In other words, a Google Business Profile that is established under a Workspace account is a lot less likely to get terminated or suspended. Again, because of additional validation signals. And same thing with an AdWords account. If you have an AdWords account, you can, if you do that through a Workspace account. Now, I'm not going to say you can't get your AdWords account suspended, because you certainly can if you're violating terms of service. But there's reasons to also, again, have all of those are validation signals to Google, right? When you put when you put your name to something in a credit card on file and billing address, that instantly increases the validity of that account, right? It validates the account is what I'm saying. Hopefully that makes sense. Dustin says, would it be bad practice to no follow all external links except for other sites we own and some client sites we might want to link out to? There's different opinions on that. I've always no followed every external link unless, so for WordPress sites, I'll put plugins on there, like no follow external links. Some of the SEO plugins will have that option now to no follow external links, and you can add exclusions and exceptions and things like that. But I've done that for years. And then I would just specifically follow a link if I wanted it to be a do follow link. But I have been just blanket by default, no follow all external links. That's just what I do. So, but there's differing opinions on there. I've heard people say don't no follow links, and I don't know. For me, it was always about what they call link sculpting, which is about how you direct page rank, the flow of link equity, right? But again, I've heard varying opinions on that. For best practice, I still just no follow all external links, and I only turn them on to follow when I want to. So, for example, my directory site, those are all no follow links. It's just a plugin on there, no follow external links. So every external link is no followed, but I can go in and purposely make specific links follow or set exclusions. I can set an exclusion by domain, for example. So for example, if I've got a client with multiple Google business locations, right, then I can go in and set their domain as an exclusion, and any one of the links from the directory site that are pointing to their website, their different location pages on their website, those will all be follow links. That makes sense. So it's just standard operating procedure for me. Oh, sorry, I almost just missed one. The next one is if you own, this one's from Gary. He says, if you own an SEO agency that also does other services and has a well-established blog, would it be a good idea to order a Wikidata gig on Legit for the brand, or would it just get suspended? If it's well-established brand, you can try it. I mean, it's a fairly inexpensive. It's fairly inexpensive to try, right? Was it like $30 or $40 or something? You can try it. I did it for one of my tree server. I mean, I've tried to create my own Wikidata pages for years, and every time I've ever done it, it's been moderated out within 3 days. So I stopped even attempting it. But one of the tree service brands that I use for lead gen, I had one of the locations, and it's interesting because that is a multi-location brand, and I had 4 of my Google Business profiles suspended in about a 24-hour period. And this is my oldest brand too. And it pisses me off. But anyway, one of the locations that's still part of that multi-location brand. I had 13 locations. I think I got 9 now, or maybe it was 12 and 8. Anyways, what I'm trying to say is one of those locations I had a Wikidata page created for, and it is still present. And in fact, I'm wondering if that's part of the reason that one location didn't get suspended. I'm serious, because that Wikidata page has been alive now for almost 2 years. It's still published, and I'm wondering if that's a validation signal. It probably is. I don't know that for sure. I haven't tried to test that further, but I mean, try it for the cost of, I don't remember what it was, $40-50 or something like that. Let me just, oh, you guys aren't seeing my screen. Let me, just going to go pull up the legit provider for that. I would say try it. It's not going to, I mean, worst that happens is you lose $40 or whatever it was. Wikidata, here it is. I'll grab the link, post it in chat, because I know some of you guys are going to ask about it. Put this in chat. All right, I'm going to grab the screen for another minute. It's this guy here, $30, $30, take the chance, man. What's it going to hurt? $30 freaking dollars. You can't even buy pizza from Papa John's anymore for less than $30. It seems, you know what I mean? So for $30, that's worth giving it a shot, in my opinion, right there. All right, moving on. Next one. It appears that domain authority is correlated to the number of backlinks, assuming that backlinks are of good quality. Is that true? You can manipulate domain authority with quantity for sure. Assuming that the backlinks are good quality. No. Domain authority has nothing to do with quality. It has nothing to do with quality. So it's volume as far as I know. Years ago, we used to manipulate domain authority, and it freaking worked like magic. It really did. It was crazy. Like domain authority stacking. I think that's what Jimmy Kelly called it, DAS, domain authority stacking, when I first learned about it many, many years ago. And we used to do all kinds of cool things to manipulate domain authority. Like, for example, you could take a brand new domain authority 0, right? Page authority, domain authority, both 0 when it's a brand new domain that you just registered. And then you could put a subdomain on it and then spam the subdomain with straight GSA spam. Like, I mean, the worst of the worst kind of kitchen sink spam is what I've always called it. And you could within Moz would update its metrics like every 3 weeks or every month or something like that. It's probably changed now. This was years ago, but Moz used to update their metrics like once every, I don't know, 4 to 6 weeks or something like that. And within one Moz refresh cycle, you could go from 0 domain authority to above 40, like that, from pure GSA spam to a subdomain, because Google treats subdomains differently than the root domain. So you could spam the shit out of a subdomain and pump the domain authority for the root domain, but it wouldn't. You could still rank the root domain even though the subdomain was spammed to death. And it was about manipulating domain authority. That used to be a significant ranking factor, not domain authority in itself, but the effect of what we were doing to manipulate domain authority is what caused it to rank. Google doesn't give a damn about domain authority, guys. That's a third-party proprietary metric. It's Moz's metric, not Google's. Google doesn't give a shit about domain authority, just like Google doesn't care about domain rating from Ahrefs or Majestic's Trust Flow, which Majestic is the app that I use. Those are the metrics that I follow. And I don't care about Trust Flow by itself. What I care about is topical Trust Flow. But Google doesn't give a shit about topical trust flow either. Let's just be real clear. Like Google doesn't care about any of those third-party metrics. Google cares about its own stuff, whatever that is. Those are just really well-educated guesses and out, their own proprietary algorithms of what those each individual platforms have determined are indications of link quality and strength, or link strength only, or quantity and strength, but not quality. Like, so for example, I don't use any of the other ones. All I care about is Majestic Metrics. And even to be honest, I really don't even care much about Majestic Metrics. What I care about is the measure of topical relevance, topical trust flow. So in Majestic, the two primary metrics are trust flow and citation flow. Trust flow is a measure of link quality. Citation flow is a measure of link quantity. Does that make sense? But topical trust flow is a measure of, or a classification of topical relevance of external backlinks. So that's the metric that I care about. And you cannot have a topical trust flow categorization unless there is a trust flow value of at least one. That makes sense. So to get back to the question, is domain authority correlated to the number of backlinks? Yes. Assuming the backlinks are of good quality, that has no bearing on it whatsoever. Okay. That doesn't work anymore, though. Just manipulating domain authority by itself does not work anymore. It used to, doesn't anymore. So, but you're welcome to try it. I mean, we used to just crush it. Domain authority stacking. I mean, there was so much stuff we could do that was just, and it would work. It would work incredibly well. Those were much easier days for sure.
Good old times.
Yep. Much easier days. All right. The next one is from NVDH. Okay. Hey, everyone. Hope all is well. What would be the best to build topically relevant links to my paid local citations, or should I go build geo-relevant links to it for a local business? I got a nice local boost from it already without any links, and all of it is indexed. Thanks. Topically relevant links to my paid local citations. Oh, okay. So your paid local, or build geo-relevant links to it for a local business. Both. I would do both. In fact, I would probably do topically relevant links to the citation, and then locally relevant or geo-relevant links to direct to the money site instead of to the citation. That's what I would do. But you know what? It's worth testing. If you have I mean, seriously, because I've not tested that. So I don't know which configuration would be better. I would have to test to be able to determine that. I'm just saying, you asked what you said, what would be best? I don't know, because you'd have to test it. What I would do in that situation would be probably build topically relevant links to the citation, and then use the locally relevant links, because those are harder to come by. At least in my experience, it's harder to get geographically relevant links than it is to get topically relevant links. And maybe because I've spent a year focusing on finding topically relevant links, it's just a lot easier for us to do. I just recently started the process of finding geographically relevant domains for a way for us to build geographically relevant links for our clients without having to be in the local area and have relationships with other businesses in that area, et cetera. And without having to do outreach, because that is just an enormous time suck. Not that it's not effective, but I don't want to do outreach link building. That's not what I want to do. So instead, I've discovered ways to hunt down geographically relevant domains that you can purchase or register and then rebuild them. And now you've got geographically relevant links. And so I've actually just went through that last 2 days in the live streaming on Twitch. If you go back and watch, not today, I found the domains yesterday, I think. Today I started building a couple of them out using CTRify. So again, go back and watch yesterday's replay if you want to see how I find locally relevant links, or yeah, that would have been yesterday. Locally relevant domains. There's ways you can do that too. So again, just to answer your question, I would probably go with topically relevant links to the paid citation, and then locally relevant links direct to the money site and the Google Business Assets, just because they tend to be harder to find. But I would say, if you have the ability to test that, right? If you have two different projects that you can apply these methods to, test those two and see. That's something I could test too. I'm curious as to what paid local citations you were using, though. If anybody has any really good experience with any paid local citations that have produced a nice boost, like you're mentioning here, feel free to share that shit, man. I'd love to test it. I'll test it live on the streaming stuff that I'm doing on Twitch. we'll apply some paid local citations to a project and see what happens. Right. And we can test that in isolation. I can try that against some properties that I have out there that I'm not really doing anything with, just to see if we get a boost from just that and that alone. That makes sense. But I don't know. I've not tested a lot of paid directories, so I don't know which ones are even worth trying. That's why I'm asking for you guys for some guidance. If anybody has any experience with paid directories that have produced a nice boost, share that shit. Let me know, and I'll do some testing live on my streaming sessions. Does that make sense? All right. That was all the pre-posted questions. Let me get into any comments, and then we can wrap it up for the day, maybe even early. NVDH says, hey, well, there you go. If you've got any, reach out to me privately if you don't want to share them publicly, but I'll end up just testing them publicly anyway. So, but yeah, share what, if you have any. If it's not relevant, then don't worry about it. But I'm curious. I've not done a lot of paid directory stuff, but if it works, it works. So. Okay, I'm going to get into comments, guys, and then we can wrap it up for the day. Looks like we're running out.
Yeah, let's take a look through here. Had some process stuff.
Oh, Cecilia's
Twitch
on. Sorry, Adam. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Cecilia, I'm on the rum. Okay, so now I know. That's awesome. And I think, Cecilia, you're a new mastermind member. I think we have I know we got a mastermind call scheduled, I think tomorrow actually, or Friday. I think it's Friday. Anyway, looking forward to chatting with you. So go ahead, Adam. I'm sorry.
Oh, no problem. I was just reading through the questions. I think that is actually it. We're just going back and forth about the process stuff, talking about Twitch, and I think this is going to wrap it up.
Okay. Blue Panda says Twitch link. He probably said that right after I said, before you guys ask. I can't tell you how many times we've seen that. Which link? Come on, guys. Just go use the fucking search. Come on, man. Evergreen. Oh, Alfredo, what's up, buddy? He says the Twitch moms are great. Yeah, 4 a.m. in California. Yeah, the replays are there though, guys. So all right, that's it. Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Wait. What am I going to miss tomorrow on the mastermind again?
Tomorrow's not the mastermind. Tomorrow is Build with Bradley, which is the discussion group. So from 2 to 3 p.m. Eastern is the Build with Bradley discussion group. It's a Zoom meeting. It is not a webinar. We do not record it because it's for participation. So, and it's been fabulous. I love it. It's an hour where our mastermind members, whoever wants to attend, can join. Everybody can turn on their camera and their mics, and we have discussions about SEO, business, prospecting and sales, etc. It's been a lot of fun. I really look forward to doing that. So tomorrow is the next Build with Bradley group. Encourage you to join it.